It's week 4 and it's the results show. And so let's get started. The first match on Saturday afternoon in the UK was at St Mary's. Southampton at home to Manchester United. Team news. Well, there was no Martial, he's injured, as was Shaw, who was replaced by Young. Mata was in for Lingard, and Pereira was in midfield. Rashford started up front, of course. For Saints, they were without Redmond, which was likely to be a big loss for them. 2 wins in a row for Saints, looking for a third. United looking for their first clean sheet in 16 matches. That they've had 1 in 16. So real serious problems for the defence. We'd said goodbye to Sanchez, hooray. And I understand that Smalling has also left the club. Not sure of that status on that. Okay, so 3 minutes, an early counter-attack from United. And Rashford clashing with Cedric, but nothing came of it. United starting to already look a bit cute in defence and getting caught in possession. 7 minutes, Bouval inches wide after United far too slow, and yes, again caught in possession. On 10 minutes, a nice fluid move from midfield. Finally, the ball got out to James. He came in from the left, cut in nicely, went into the box and unleashed a rocket of a shot in the top right-hand corner as he was looking at. Gunn, the goalkeeper, had absolutely no chance, so United were 1 up. Sloppy again, though, from Wan-Bissaka, and he was fortunate that his error wasn't punished by Holberg, who shot high and wide. On 18 minutes, a sharp chance again, this time to Wan-Bissaka from a neat cross by McTominay. He's looking more and more assured in the centre of midfield now, alongside Pogba. Anyway, the Saints were competing with a high press. That was causing De Gea some problems from goal kicks. And he didn't look a barrel of confidence, I must admit. 21 minutes, another strong shot from James just outside the box. It was punched away by Gunn. And 27 minutes, another counter-attack. Rashford's cross forced away by the defence. He was caught offside a couple of times, Rashford. But at the back, United still looking very shaky, getting caught in possession far too often. Although the shining light, Wan-Bissaka was gaining in confidence and strong in possession and getting that vital interception. But Saints were still a handful near the box, and Lindegaard was looking more threatening, coming up for corners. But Man U managed to survive to the break, went in 1 up at half time. Into the second then, 50 minutes, left foot cross from James, and Rashford again challenging for the ball, but nothing came of it. And then a gilt-edged chance for Saints. Adams put through in the box with just the keeper to beat, and he smashed the ball wide after he had managed to get past Lindelof, who was certainly not looking confident at all. 58 minutes, a corner, and Ings forced a good save from De Gea. The ball came out to the edge of the box, and it was clipped back in to the penalty box area, and that man Lindegaard, high and mighty, far too strong for Lindegaard, and his header went past De Gea, and it was 1-1. After that, things were pretty even, although Southampton I still felt were winning more of the 50-50s. Lingard and Matic came on for Mata and Pereira. Solskjaer obviously desperate for a win. And then this Danjon inadvertently, following her absolutely wretched challenge on McTominay, received a second yellow. So he was off. And that meant that that Southampton had to handle the last 20 minutes with 10 men. Well, it was all United, to be expected. A couple of half chances for James. He certainly made Gunn palms hot with one effort that was tipped over. And they were certainly pushing forward relentlessly. There were chances, half chances really, for Rashford, and then Lingard shot wide on 86. And also Greenwood, who came on, his shot forced a good save from Gunn. And on 88 minutes, Young effort, a curler, went just wide. But Saints survived. It ended up at full time. Southampton 1, Man U 1. At the Etihad then, City faithful really expecting an easy win against opponents Brighton. Brighton had done very well in the first two fixtures, but last week it all went pear-shaped. Team news then, Rodri was in for Gundogan and Mahrez in for Bernardo Silva. Webster made a debut for Brighton. Well, off we went, and we hadn't got further than 70 seconds when David Silva managed to evade a tackle, and he got in a cross to De Bruyne, who was on target to slot home, and that was 1-0. Mahrez on the right was causing tremendous problems for the Brighton defence, constantly charging in towards the box, and he forced a save from Ryan early on. And De Bruyne was inches wide on the 20-minute mark to make it 2. And then Sterling set up David Silva, but he put it wide. There was a challenge by Webster on Laporta. Laporta came off worse off and got carried off, and there's some serious doubt about his knee. So anyway, he was off, and then 42 minutes, an absolutely peach of a goal. Walker got the ball through to Mahrez. Mahrez on to De Bruyne, and De Bruyne saw Aguero in the box by the penalty spot. He delivered a perfect ball, and Aguero, well, he does what he does best. He hit the roof of the net, and that was 2-0. As I said, Mahrez was having a cracking game on the right. A rare chance for Brighton a minute before the break, but Ederson was too good, and so Brighton 2-0 down at the break. Into the second half, early on, Brighton had a few halves chances, but they fluffed them, and then on 55 minutes, that man Aguero on the edge of the box hammered it in for City's third. That's Aguero's 6th of the season, and we're only on game 4. Bernardo came on for David Silva, who'd been excellent once again, and within a minute, Aguero unselfishly put the ball into space in the box. Bernardo Silva ran onto it, clipped it wide of the goalkeeper, and that was 4-0 to City. Well, that was about it really. After then, a close for City again, an easy day at the office. Graham Potter having a reality check today. Final score then, Man City 4, Brighton 0. Well, let's go to Burnley now, Turf Moor. They were entertaining Liverpool. Liverpool 3 wins out of 3. And Virgil van Dijk was awarded the UEFA Player of the Year earlier in the week, so he was certainly up for it. Early effort by Fabinho, dealt with comfortably, and at the other end, Andrea, after 4 minutes, kept out a Wood effort. Mane was showing his class. He set up Zala, who hit the woodwork. That was on 5 minutes. And then a lovely move by Liverpool. Salah managed to get a shot in, which hit Pope and ricocheted back to Salah, but fortunately it went away for a goal kick. And then 33 minutes, Liverpool had been the better side, and Arnold on the right flank, a speculative cross, but as he hit it, it got a slight deflection on Wood, and unfortunately Pope completely misjudged it, and it went over his head into the corner of the net. So rather fortuitously, Liverpool won up. 4 minutes later, though, no doubt about the next effort, Mane doubled the lead after a nice assist from Firmino. He guided it wide of Pope into the right corner. So Liverpool comfortable at the break, 2-0. Into the second half, it all looked a little bit sort of, well, an easy day at the office. But then on 72 minutes, there was a little bit of a scuffle between Matip and Barnes. And then shortly after, Tarkowski had a chance, but he headed over. Best chance really for Burnley so far. On 80 minutes though, that man Salah managed to create a yard of space heading towards the penalty box, and his layoff was perfect for Firmino. And the Brazilian, well, he scored, and that was 3-0. That marked a significant moment. It's the 50th goal that Firmino has scored in the Premier League, and that is the most by any Brazilian ever. So quite an important moment for him. Mane then got substituted, and that was following a golden chance that he should have had if Salah had delivered the pass, but a combination of not getting the pass and then Klopp bringing him out, he arrived at the dugout in a foul temper. But we found out later from Klopp on interview that he had restored his calm. But Klopp was rather amused by the whole event. Burnley weren't amused though, because they were rolled over by 3-0, and Liverpool looking pretty impressive, 4 wins out of 4. So to Stamford Bridge then, Chelsea at home to Sheffield United. Chelsea have had a sort of indifferent start to the campaign, 1 win, a couple of draws and 1 defeat. So they were looking to get back on track here, and they had a Canadian, Tamori, making his debut. I've never heard of him. Sheffield United's record signing McBurney was in from the start. But early possession for Chelsea, early dominance on 15 minutes. Abraham looking sharp. His effort though was a little tame and it went wide. But a few minutes later, there was a bit of a mix-up with the goalkeeper, Sheffield's goalkeeper. He fluffed his clearance from an effort by Abraham, and he got another go at it, his second attempt, and it hit the back of the net, and Chelsea were 1 up. Nice move from Kovacic, who was looking more and more decisive in midfield. His shot just went wide. Sheffield did have the occasional flurry at 43 minutes. In fact, Robinson, who was their best player, had a header which went agonisingly wide. And then a moment later, two Sheffield defenders got in each other's way just near the penalty box, and Abraham pounced on the good fortune and steered the ball wide of the keeper, and Chelsea went in 2-0 up. I don't know what Wilder said at half-time, but it certainly made a difference out of the block straight away, and it was that man Robinson who glided in a neat effort wide of Kepa to get the Blades back into the match, and it was 2-1. It was actually the first attempt on target really by them, and it paid dividends. After that, Abraham had a chance to seal his hat-trick, but Henderson made a great save. And Chelsea, from then on, started to lose their way a bit like they did in their first home game against Leicester, and Sheffield were growing in confidence, and then a Robinson cross into the box, and Musa, anticipating it, got a foot ahead of Zuma, and he flicked it past Kepa, and we were back to 2-2. And to be perfectly honest, Sheffield were good value. After that, Chelsea really didn't get going. They, in fact, looked vulnerable at times, and they certainly are missing the light of Conte and Willian and Pedro. These are big losses for them, and they are certainly missing them in midfield. They didn't seem to be able to get going. And Mount was quite disappointing. So we ended up at the full-time whistle, Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 2. So to the King Power Stadium, Leicester versus Bournemouth. This was the 500th match of Rodgers' managerial career. Quite a milestone. And he selected Chilwell, Ndidi and Albrighton in at the start for the Foxes. And Wilson was actually in from the start for the Cherries. Last week he came on after an early injury. It was all Leicester in the early stages, and on 12 minutes a fantastic long punt up through field by Chilwell, and Vardy was much better at anticipating the flight of the ball, got ahead of the defender, and as the goalie rushed out, his audacious little lob over the keeper landed in the corner of the net. It was a typical Vardy goal, piece of pure brilliance, and the Foxes were one up. Bournemouth reacted, and they reacted quickly, and on 19 minutes Callum Wilson made a nice diagonal run to beat the offside trap, and he clipped the ball back across Schmeichel's advance, and it went in the corner, and Bournemouth had levelled, and it was 1-1. After that, Maddison had a header just wide from a cross by Albrighton, and Ramsdale was pretty fortunate in goal for Bournemouth with a clearance which hit Vardy, but luckily went wide. Maddison was starting to run the show, and I understand he's been selected in the England squad, and he certainly deserves it. 41 minutes, Vardy again. Why has he decided not to play for England? Anyway, he was causing havoc on the right. He managed to get past and run to the byline, and a perfect cross straight into that 6-yard box, and Tielemans managed to get a touch of it. It was a scruffy finish, but what the heck. 2-1 to the Foxes, and that was the score at the break. Then into the second half, a couple of strange decisions by the referee. Wilson, Callum that was, he was fouled, but the referee decided it was a simulated dive and gave him a yellow card. And then a little bit later, Tielemans misjudged a challenge on the same Wilson and stood on his ankle, and it looked pretty nasty, but the referee did nothing. Anyway, 73 minutes, Vardy made sure the points were safely in the bag, and he connected with a neat Ricardo pass across the penalty box, swept it home, 3-1, game over. Rodgers delighted, and Vardy looking back to his best. Final score, Leicester 3, Bournemouth 1.